Hello everyone and welcome to my reaction review of Lux, episode 2, season 2 of Doctor Who. Apologies if I missed some bits here because there was a lot going on in that episode and it's still early in the morning, so my brain is still processing all of it. But I think I enjoyed it. I mean, there was a lot going on, so it's hard for me to really tell what I think at this early stage of the day. What I will say, first off, hats off to all the animators on this episode. They did a fantastic job. Mr. Ringading looked fantastic, and Alan Cumming gives an all-time performance. But yeah, before we get into that, the basic premise is Mr. Ringading is a cartoon, and he's playing in a cinema, but he comes to life, and basically is wanting to wreak havoc, and the Doctor and Belinda land in 1952, and try and stop him. What I loved about this was actually the opening scenes where we learn a bit more about Belinda, we learn a bit more about her family, a bit more about like why she wants to go home, which I thought was really, really good. She's still not in awe of the Doctor. You get that scene towards the beginning where she's like, you really want to investigate that spooky old cinema? And he's like, yeah, I obviously do. But she's like, no, we can go home now, right? And he's like, nah. Which is really funny, really, really good. I think Shizi Gatwa gives a great performance in this one as well. Obviously, as well, we get the kind of subtle like race implications of landing in Miami 1952 for both the Doctor and Belinda. Obviously, it's a segregated town, so they're not actually supposed to be in the diner or the cinema where the story takes place. I actually thought that stuff was really tastefully done. It didn't like overwhelm the episode, but I also really loved the Doctor's approach to it of, I've toppled worlds. Sometimes I have to wait for a world to be toppled. But until then, I dazzle in it and I shine. I really like that line. That line's really good. And I think that is how he would approach it. And I like Belinda's response of, how can you just ignore it? How can you just carry on? But the Doctor probably would, which I really liked. So yeah, he gets told that a woman lost her kid in this cinema. And it's revealed that 15 people went missing at this cinema. So they go and investigate. They find Mr. Ringading alongside the projectionist, Reginald Pye, who I want to say as well, I really loved as well the character of him, because essentially it's revealed that Mr. Ringading is not Mr. Ringading at all, but instead the god of light, Lux. And essentially the way he comes to be is through the power of moonlight, basically animating his body into real life. But what he does is he makes the film of Mr. Reginald Pye's dead wife come to life and interact with him. So that explains why Reginald Pye carries on playing the films and carries on being the projectionist, even though the cinema is long since abandoned. All the while, Mr. Ringading gets to feed off of the films and learn basically about humanity and about the world, which is why he knows about like nuclear winters and stuff like that, because it's the 50s, so there's a lot of atomic bomb stuff going on. Really, really nice stuff. Really liked his character arc. I thought that was really good. Initially, I perhaps thought they were going to do a thing where he was the villain, but no, it was Mr. Ringading, it was Lux. As I said, this is a member of the Pantheon, and the reason he says, don't make me laugh, as I sort of suspected, was because if he does laugh, it gets revealed that he is a member of the Pantheon. His laugh is that same ha 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 of the Toymaker and Maestro, and Lux even calls it out. He's like, oh my god, you're the destroyer of the Toymaker, the binder of Maestro, the killer of the god of death, which is a fun callback, and I like that he's like, and I like the fact that he's like, well, maybe they fell because they were leaving you for me, because I feed off light, and obviously the Doctor has a lot of light inside him that could build a body, i.e. regeneration. So the third act basically culminates in the Doctor's regeneration energy being used to basically make Mr. Ringading real. We even get like a nice Pinocchio reference, which I thought was funny. And I really liked as well, with each time that like more regeneration energy came in, he started becoming more and more realistic. I even say in my reaction at one point, oh my god, they live action Disney remade him, which I thought was really funny. I thought that was a fun little joke, the idea that the more and more energy he got, the more and more animated he got, the more and more kind of advanced he got. I thought that was a really good, clever bit of shorthand there. But really, there's one major part of the episode that I'm not talking about yet. It's probably going to be the most controversial aspect of the episode. And that is the segment where the Doctor and Belinda are in the piece of film. Now, of course, there was obviously a lot of rumours around this. And it opens, as we see in the trailers, they get transported into a cartoon. But if they express sadness, then they become more and more three-dimensional, just like I was talking about with Mr. Ring-a-Ding, but they essentially realise that they can't escape the film that Lux has trapped him in, and we get this really cool bit where it gets revealed that they think they're back in the cinema, but they're not. They're still inside a film version of the cinema, and they're like, okay, well, if we can't pull through the film, then I guess we're going to have to push through it. And they literally break through the screen, and this is the bit that I think is going to be controversial. They interact with Doctor Who fans, which we all kind of knew was coming, but nonetheless, obviously, seeing it executed on screen was very interesting. I had fun with it. There were a couple of lines where I was like, oh, come on, but at the same time, they are very much portrayed as sympathetic. They're very much portrayed as, because it's revealed that they're not real. The Doctor and Belinda are real, but the Doctor Who fans are the construction. I actually thought was a clever subversion, because I know some people were worried about the reveal that the Doctor was in a show, and how that could be quite jarring for people. But the idea that, in fact, the fans were the construct by Lux to distract the Doctor is good, because it indicates that he still believes himself to be real, but, obviously has seen his own fans, which is quite funny. There was a really funny interaction where they start talking about, what's your favourite episode, and he's trying to mention all of his adventures, and they're just like, now Blink. Blink was great, which was really funny. I did also think with the one fan, the girl in the wheelchair, where she's like, it all leaked online. I was like, getting a little bit called out here. No, it was funny though. I liked that. Although it was funny that they said rip Doctor Who, and it was like, hang on, but she's still watching all the episodes. But then I realised, yeah, they do still watch it, even though they say that it's dead. So I mean, that makes sense. I love that they used old Doctor Who music when it's revealed that they're not real and they're going to have to die in order for the Doctor to live. Obviously, that does change in the ending, but yeah, I thought that was a really nice touch. I thought all the music in this episode was good. The callbacks were nice. They didn't feel forced. They felt good. The animation, as I said, was absolutely fantastic. I really liked the Doctor and Belinda's chemistry in this episode. Ncuti's Doctor definitely has a darker, tinge to him in this one. Honestly, at present, my only real kind of complaint is I thought that the plot was a little bit wordy. I thought it was a little bit, exposition heavy, particularly towards the beginning. However, I think once it gets into the swing of it, it certainly does improve. I think the direction is incredible. I think everyone on the team of this episode deserves a massive round of applause. I think I liked the fan bit more because it didn't feel like, yeah, there were some jokes in there, but it felt like they were portrayed sympathetically, and I won't lie, some bits did feel accurate, even all their merchandise on the walls, the shirts. I mean, I'm wearing a shirt right now like that. Yeah, I liked it. I don't know, it worked for me. A little bit cheesy, but it worked. I also loved the line where Belinda is like, are you really just the Doctor? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, that's just ridiculous. I really liked that. I really like Belinda. She's really strong for me. I really, really like her. So the way that they defeat Mr. Ring-a-Ding, I realise I'm jumping around a fair bit, is that they basically use the sunlight, because the sunlight is way stronger than the moonlight, and it gets revealed that he's being kept inside because if he goes outside, then he basically can't hold the power in. But obviously he tries to use the Doctor's power as a means to become real, and he thinks he's done it, so he steps outside the cinema into the sunlight and becomes a being of pure light. And I'm really glad that in the final scene he becomes a cartoon man again, because I do think that visual is way better, even though I know that he's meant to look grotesque in the live action version. I thought that was a really funny kind of way of taking a little jab at those live action remakes, which, oh, also, the 15th Doctor didn't cry this episode. There is a tease of him crying in episode 3, but as far as I could tell, he didn't cry in this episode. So people who don't like him crying, I don't think he cried this episode. There were a couple of moments where his eyes were a bit bloodshot, but I don't think he actually cried this episode. I could be wrong, but I didn't notice it if he did. Also, I swear there was a bit in the trailer where they're back in the TARDIS, and they say, are my family going to be safe? And you can't promise to keep me safe. And he's like, I promise. That bit just straight up wasn't in the episode, so I don't know whether that was just in the trailers or whether that was cut at some point during production. I don't know, but yeah, it definitely felt odd. It definitely felt like there was a scene missing somewhere, and I think that might be the scene, because this one only clocks in at about 43 minutes. Also, we get our second Mrs. Flood tease of the series. This one happens right at the end, after Lux has been defeated, or Mr. Ring has been defeated. They're like, oh, if you want to see a great show, look over there, and they show the crowds the dematerializing TARDIS, but she says something to the effect of, must warn you though, this show is closing soon, 24th of May 2025, which is obviously the date they're trying to get back to, and she says, oh, the disappearance must be a trick of the light. So there you go. I honestly was like, oh yeah, I was wondering when she was going to show up because it was right at the very end. But yeah, they're definitely building to something, and I am fascinated to find out what it is. I also really liked the way that the Doctor and Belinda interacted at the end of, like, everything we said to each other when we thought we were going to die is still true. I'm going to work with you through this. Good stuff, good stuff. But yeah, I'm going to stop rambling. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe if you're new, like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you later.